Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm making jollof rice. I'm actually using this very big pot to make it because it's for a small crowd. My husband is taking it to some people who are working for him. So yes, even though we're going to like take out a little bit from here to also eat, for my family. So before I usually start cooking, especially when I have to throw food in the sink, I would clean it with baking soda and lemon. This is something I usually do all the time, especially when I have to like wash rice or beans or wash meat and it's going to fall into the sink. Like this kind of helps take away the taste of oil or soap, from previous washes. So I then start out by like preparing my chicken. I would cut it if need be, and then I will go ahead to remove the small hairs and every other thing on it. I usually like it like really clean because you just want everything clean and perfect. And then this is what I do. I usually wash in the sink, so you now see why you need to clean if you don't already. So I usually use the colander also just to help like take the excess water away. I would wash one by one like this. Also I usually add salt most times to wash and then let it drip out the water a little bit, and then I'm just going to transfer it into the sink and also go one after the other with like this kitchen towel just to get the water out, because I don't like to have excess water when I'm marinating the meat. So when it comes to marinating the chicken, I usually go in with my chicken stock. I usually have that at home, and then I use thyme, rosemary. I go in with coriander and then followed by curry and every other spice that I find at home. You could use anything, okay? I didn't have enough ginger and I didn't add garlic. If you have garlic powder, if you have garlic, anything you have, just go in with it, because the more spices you add, actually the more flavorful it is. Then I just wanted to quickly wash my cutting board because it was taking up space on the table. So I usually wash this particular cutting board with lemon and baking soda because it usually, I think, absorbs the taste of soap when I use soap to wash it, when I use washing liquid to wash it. I don't know if you guys have noticed this with your plastic cutting boards. I think this one is because it has a lot of knife cuts. And then because it's plastic, plastic kind of usually absorbs this and I don't like it, so I don't use soap to wash this plastic cutting board. So my water is ready and I'm adding 6 cups of rice to the boiling water. If you're wondering what kind of cup I'm using this double tomato paste cup that a lot of us use back then in Nigeria. So that's exactly what I'm using, but if you're wondering, it's about 12 cups of regular cup, okay? So yeah, that's it. So depending on the number of people you're cooking for, you could just like adjust it. So the next would be me preparing my peppers. Like these peppers is something you do not want to skip if you're making jollof rice, okay? Because this pepper will give it like the color, that exact red color that you want. So you need this pepper and also tomato paste to get that beautiful red color. So depending on the kind of red that you like after cooking your jollof rice, you could use more or less of these peppers, and then you could use more or less of tomato paste. So I usually wash my peppers and then clean up and then wash again because I do not like the seeds running everywhere. So my rice is ready to be washed. I'm washing it right after the very first boil. I like to wash it at this stage and make sure that all this colored water is off and the water comes out really clean. Then I'm just going to blend my tomatoes and the peppers together. If you have a high-speed blender like mine, go ahead to stuff it like this and don't add any water. I didn't add water at all, but if your blender is not so strong, just add a little bit of water, or add your tomato or anything that you want to add that has a little bit of water under, and then continue blending. So right now I'm going to add ginger, because you guys know I didn't add ginger in my chicken, and you have to add ginger. Like, ginger gives it this extra flavor, this extra spikiness. And also, guys, let me tell you guys something. The more natural spices you add to jollof rice, the better it will taste. A good jollof rice is not about how much stock that you have added to it or how much salt you have added to it. It is how much natural flavors that you can taste from it. So that's what makes it exceptional. That's what makes it so tasty. So don't go about pouring in stock, or maggi as we call it, and then just letting your jollof rice stay without those extra flavors. So right now, just like transferring my already washed rice. Is clean right now, like clean, it's ready to be cooked. So I'm just transferring it to a colander to get the excess water out, because also I want to use the pot. So you saw earlier I poured my tomatoes into a pot to boil. You are not going to miss this step at all. This is where you just let your tomatoes dry out a little bit, or at least dry to a great extent. Like, the water in the tomatoes needs to dry. But while I'm boiling mine, I like to add extra spices to it, just to make it also a little bit tasty. Then this is the main pot I'm using for my rice. So I've added a little bit of oil in there, and then I added onions. I'm just going to like fry the onions till it's translucent, and then I'm going in with bay leaf. I'm just going to add a few spices right here, natural spices right here, because I like the aroma that it brings out. And also, when you fry it a little bit, it kind of gives it, and it kind of like brings out that extra flavor in these spices. Like, you guys need to try this. If you are cooking anything, just try it. The bay leaf comes out tasting even stronger. Everything comes out tasting even stronger. So because I do not boil my chicken before frying it, I don't have chicken stock to work with. Okay, so what I usually do is to put a piece or two or three of chicken in the tomato sauce when I'm cooking it. So you can see what I did here. I added a full lap of chicken, and I believe it will kind of leave that extra chicken flavor in there. So it's going to be there till I finish cooking the tomatoes, and then I get it out. So it's time to pour in the tomatoes or the stew into the main pot that I'm going to use for my jollof rice, because it's getting ready little by little. The steps are becoming complete. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add my tomato paste. Okay, you could add as much as you want. The more you add, the more red it comes out. Okay, and also remember, the more of that pepper you use, the more red it comes out. So you just choose which one you prefer, how you want it, and how you just want your food to come out. My jollof rice must not be like yours, but make sure it's flavorful. That's what makes jollof rice. If it's flavorful and if it has that red color, it's going to be tasty, I promise you. So I'm just taking out like a few scoops of stew to add on top of my rice. I like to do this. In fact, I don't know, my mom actually taught me to do that. Okay, so when I add my rice, that will be after this water I'm adding has boiled. Meanwhile, I'm adding hot water. Okay, so it's easier to boil, like it boils faster. So I've added my rice right now. I'm just going to go ahead to turn it, like turn it from under to the top, like that. So this is how to turn it. You do not need to squish it or just make some kind of crazy turns. You just want to bring up some of the ingredients from down to the top, because when your rice is ready and well cooked, you are also going to give it a good turn. So I've just added the extra tomato stew on top of my rice. So now I'm just going to cover it and let it cook on very low heat. I added extra more. In fact, I added all of it, the remaining. Yeah, because you also have to be testing it as you're making it, so that you know that you have that taste that you're looking for. Please do not add excess water to jollof rice. Just add water that is just enough, and then cook on low heat. It needs to cook on low heat. It doesn't need excess water. It doesn't also need high heat. If not, it starts burning from the onset, and that's not what you want. You want it to cook before it even starts burning a little bit. Okay, so guys, let's just wash up because our rice is almost ready now. Oh my god, guys, it smells so good. It smells so good. But please, at this point, it still has water in it, so please do not turn it. I'm going to add an onion bulb into the oil I'm going to use to fry. Also feel free to add garlic cloves into it, because they kind of give the meat or the chicken that you're frying extra flavors. Trust me on this one. The rice is ready, so right now it's time to turn your rice. Feel free to mix it from bottom to the top, bottom to the top. If you don't do this at this stage, it's very tricky, because sometimes if you did not mix it well at the very beginning, you might find out that you have like a higher concentration of all the ingredients you use actually at the bottom of the pot, and this is not something you want. You want to mix it all up at this stage, and your rice is ready to be served. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Please also drop your comments down below. Is there any extra thing that you do when you're cooking jollof rice, or any extra step that you think that I missed that you really think is very necessary? Please let me know down below, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.